Hello, I'm Talaya Dendy, and you're listening to Navigating Cancer Together. It is the show that has something for everyone facing cancer. Why? Because everyone is different, with different needs, beliefs, and perspectives. Thank you for joining us for this very special episode. I encourage you to open your minds and your hearts. Navigating Cancer Together is everywhere. Make sure to subscribe and follow the show to stay updated on our latest episodes. Listen on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, or your preferred podcast app or platform. I have a question for you. Have you experienced survivorship? If you have, what have been some of your struggles post-cancer treatment? And what are some solutions that you have found for those struggles? The raw truth is that survivorship isn't always joyous. For so many of us, the end of treatment brings more questions than answers. As a seasoned cancer thriver and a cancer doula, I've witnessed this from many different perspectives. And I know firsthand that the all clear is often where the real work of healing begins. As I mentioned, I'm Talaya Dendy, and I am working on something very special that I'm hoping you all can help me with. Let me tell you my why before I go into detail about what it is. As I shared, I'm a 14-year cancer thriver. I like to say thriver. I'm a 14-year cancer thriver, and actually April 8th of 2026 will be 15 years. And I want to share with you that has not been a straight path. It hasn't always been an easy path. It has been filled with uncertainty. It has been filled with frustration. It has been filled with feeling invisible at times or unsupported. It has been filled with feelings of being misunderstood. And I say those things because it's true and because people need to know that although I am extremely, extremely grateful to still be here and to be able to say that I'm an almost 15-year cancer survivor, cancer thriver, it has been a struggle at times. Not to mention some of the latent side effects due to the cancer treatment. Before cancer treatment, I didn't have any health issues. I mean, zero. So sometimes reflecting on the fact that I had to exchange a clean bill of health, so to speak, to be able to get the treatment that I needed to still be here, to be able to talk with you all today. I'm here to talk about the Survivor Series with Talaya Dendy. But first, I want to tell you more about Podcasthon. I am pausing my break briefly from hosting Navigating Cancer Together because I feel like Podcasthon is so important. And I wanted to make you all aware of the amazing work that's happening with Podcasthon and the Survivor Series with Talaya Dendy. Podcasthon started in 2023 with 300 French-speaking podcasters. It grew to over 400 in 2024 and is now expanding worldwide. Navigating Cancer Together participated in the third edition of Podcasthon, which took place from March 15th to March 21st, 2025. I will include a link to that episode in the show notes. Over 1,500 podcasters participated from over 40 countries. Navigating Cancer Together is honored to participate again in 2026 using podcasting for good to inspire action and support charities. Again, the charity that I want to talk about is the Survivor Series with Talaya Dendy. The Survivor Series with Talaya Dendy was sparked by a very special episode that aired last June, dedicated to National Cancer Survivor Month. That is where it all started. I talk with survivors from all walks of life about how cancer impacted their lives, including the blessings and the challenges that they faced. This conversation proved that there is a huge need for a space where survivors can share the unfiltered realities of life beyond cancer. I also conducted a poll last June, during National Cancer Survivor Month. And in that poll, I asked survivors what survivorship meant to them. 58% of the poll respondents see survivorship as a deep sense of purpose, and 17% see it as an ongoing journey that never truly ends. I can attest to that. Something that came up during my conversation with the other survivors that pretty much was shared across the board. And that is the expectation that survivors post-cancer treatment should be happy, positive, all the things. A very real and relatable topic among many was the need to move beyond forced positivity. Survivors post-treatment and cancer patients in active treatment have even felt this way. But I think it's really heightened once someone completes treatment. And it's that expectation that the survivor should be positive, should be happy, should be all these things, which for the most part, yeah, who wouldn't be happy to be done with cancer treatment? Who wouldn't be happy to still be alive? But we really need to talk about moving beyond that forced positivity or that expectation that one should be positive. Annamaria's perspective was that survivorship can be traumatic and the quiet moments are the toughest.
What word would I use to describe your experience of surviving cancer and why? I feel like I don't know if everyone will say traumatic, but that is the word I would say. It's very traumatic, and it's not just traumatic because you hear the diagnosis and you go through the treatment and then you live your life, but it's in those quiet moments when you sit down, and this happens to me a lot. It's in those quiet moments when you sit down and it hits you.
Tom Reaoch, he touched on the ongoing journey and used the Return of the Jedi analogy that survivorship is a series of phases, and sometimes you have to buy another bucket for your bucket list.
We have to buy another bucket. Why is that? We all have our bucket list. I'm sure we all, during the early phases, we probably created a bucket list. Maybe Annamaria had her bucket list, or Mary, right? Sat down, well, this is what I hope to do. I would like to do this before whatever, right? Well, I've already done that. I'm at the end of that bucket. Everything that I had hoped that I would be able to live long enough to see and whatever, that's done. So I'm going to go out and buy another bucket because now I'm in survivorship too. And I'm going to start all over, make another bucket list because we're still here. And I hope to be here. And while we're here, I'm going to keep connecting.
Connection was a huge part of our conversation. And Terry Tucker talked about finding meaning in the misery and how connection reduces the isolation of their deer in the headlights phase.
One of the biggest challenges I've had to overcome is finding meaning in the misery, finding a message in what I was going through in this misery, because I don't believe we suffer in vain. There's something we're supposed to either understand about ourselves, something we're supposed to learn about ourselves during this journey. So it was finding that misery and also, in all honesty, embracing the suck. I don't like having cancer. I've never enjoyed this, but I've had to embrace the difficulty in my life and find a way to use it, find a way to turn it around into something that is more positive, more beneficial. And a lot of that has to do with not focusing on, woe is me, this hurts, I'm feeling down, I'm feeling depressed. It's more, what can I offer? It's not what I can get, it's what I can give with my unique gifts and talents and the disease that I'm facing.
Many survivors are suffering in silence and struggling to regain their footing as they maneuver in and out of the fog-filled maze of cancer treatment. The Survivor series with Talaya Dendy aims to make not talking about these realities taboo. We must talk about them. When cancer treatment stops, the community and support often disappears, but the identity shift is just beginning. Survivorship can feel like a lonely desert where the survivor is expected to quickly bounce back from all of the trauma that they've endured. It's what I like to call a gumbo of emotions. Just like gumbo, everyone's ingredients and experiences are different. But the common thread is that many survivors find themselves stuck at what happened, and they're struggling to determine what's next. The Survivor Series with Talaya Dendy will be monthly live panel discussions with expert survivors. I envision these discussions being live streamed so that people can watch these discussions and be a part of these discussions in real time. There will also be a podcast component where people who were not able to attend can go back and listen to the podcast episode. The live streamed episodes will also be uploaded to YouTube. So this will be a multimedia storytelling format that will have the ability to reach a global audience. I would even like to do live in-person discussions and workshops in different cities and states. I know that the Survivor Series with Talaya Dendy will be a therapeutic space for authentic connections. My ultimate vision is a world where every unique experience is seen and valued, moving away from isolation and forced positivity or pity, and toward authentic community support and empowerment. The Survivor Series with Talaya Dendy is backed by our fiscal sponsor, Air Media. Air is a global professional network of audio producers, journalists, and storytellers. Their mission is to spark change and support independent media makers such as myself. Survivor Series with Talaya Dendy is proud to be fiscally sponsored by Air's Story Fund. This allows our charitable project to use AIR's 501c3 tax-exempt status to receive tax-deductible donations. Donations are made to the fiscal sponsor for the benefit of this project. AIR serves as our legal and ethical anchor, ensuring that every dollar raised is spent appropriately on this project. While the Survivor Series with Talaya Dendy is an independent initiative, it is backed by AIR's professional and ethical standards. Visit airmedia.org, that is AIRMEDIA.org, to learn more. If you have the means, please consider supporting this vision for the future of survivorship with a tax-deductible donation. Donations can be given at givebutter.com/Survivor Series with Talaya Dendy. Donations, IRS compliance, and tax forms are managed by our fiscal sponsor, Air Media. Your donation supports giving stipends to survivor panelists to honor their time and as a token of our appreciation. Production, which includes streaming software, editing, and professional marketing. A website development such as licensing and IP protection. Your donation also supports reaching individuals worldwide as they determine how to reconcile what was and how to begin an entirely new chapter. I would like to stress that no one has to navigate cancer or survivorship alone. Navigating this together greatly impacts outcomes. I want to leave you with a final quote that came up in our episode during National Cancer Survivors Month. Terry Tucker shared a quote from Hemingway. The quote is, "Life breaks everyone, and afterward, many are stronger at the broken places." I would like to thank the Podcasthon organizers, the current supporters. I would like to thank future donors who are listening now. And again, if you have the means, please consider supporting this vision for the future of survivorship with a tax-deductible donation. You can give your donation at givebutter.com/Survivor Series with Talaya Dendy. If you have any specific questions for me, if you would like to donate in another way, if you'd like to donate your time, if you have specific skill sets that can support this project, I would love to talk with you. Please send an email to nctpodcastfan@gmail.com. Again, that's nctpodcastfan@gmail.com. There are other ways to support this initiative other than a monetary donation, although a monetary donation will go really far. Before we end, I would like to give a shout out to the Navigating Cancer Together community and valued listeners. I also want to thank everyone out there who is showing up and showing out for Podcasthon. Thank you so much for your support. I want to thank future donors as well as past donors. This work would not be possible without your support. Thank you so much for joining us for this very special episode of Navigating Cancer Together during Podcasthon Week. That is it for this Wednesday. And until next time, let's keep navigating cancer together. Take care.